Namaskar everyone, and welcome to Darshan. Always a joy to engage you and to be in your company. And you know that distance, physical distance, means nothing when we have that inner connection with each other. So wishing all of you a wonderful morning and hope your day is progressing well and that you're continuing to be in charge of your day, really understanding the play and being able to navigate the play wisely. Remember, you are the driver of the play, although you may not think so. You have the power to influence the play big time. So I hope that you are centered in that space where you're not overwhelmed by the play, but you can read the play, as we say, and you can act wisely in the play. And remember that the future is fluid. Although what we have done in the past is holding us into a particular future, but what we do in this moment, and that's the beauty of it, what we do in this moment can change how the future looks. And that's why we say that we are the architects of our own destiny. We are creating the future simply by our thoughts and intentions. So let us all center in that place of peacefulness, of lovingness, of compassion, of kindness, and of being able to see the play in its entirety, to be able to read the play. Yesterday in my morning message, I spoke about the immortal body and the mortal body, and I think that is important to be able to cognize in every moment that we are living a mortal experience, that the soul in its immortal nature is having a mortal experience, that the body is the driven, the body is the vehicle on this journey, and the body is a marvelous biological machine provided by nature. And if you can only appreciate that, it's a marvelous biological machine produced by nature. Every cell in its nucleus has the DNA, its program. We can influence that, of course, by our quantum energies, by our subtle energies, prana, by our prana. And we have the power of chakras to make a difference in the body. But the body is influenced by genetics, the planets, and their emanations, the vibrations, and influenced by environmental energies, influenced by the presence of living beings around, the presence of the forces of the environment. So the body is influenced by a whole lot of things. And so we have the privilege and the joy of living the human experience, living in the mortal body. But we should always do that centered in immortal consciousness. So it's extremely important, imperative, I would say, to be awakened to immortal consciousness and to just be centered in it. In one of the prayers of the Upanishad, It says, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya, to lead me away from being caught in mortal consciousness and grant me the experience of my immortal consciousness. And we see the same thing in the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, the mantra of deathlessness. Mahamrityunjaya, which means grant me immortal consciousness. Don't withhold it from me. Grant me immortal consciousness. And that's a spiritual journey, to come into that space of immortal consciousness and the center completely in it. And then you can manifest the pranas, the subtle energies in the human experience masterfully and fully and joyfully. And there's nothing better than being in the presence of those masters who live that experience and who live in the stability of that inner space. Being around them, thinking about them, being attuned to their energies, can help us to lift. Patanjali says in his Yoga Sutras that if we focus on that which is beyond duality, then that's a way of lifting ourselves beyond duality as well. So centering in immortal consciousness, centering in the immortal body is most important. And that's what we need to be awakened to in the human experience. When I was young, this is what I was craving for. I wanted to know all that I am, and I wanted to live the highest experience in the human experience, the highest consciousness in the human experience. I crave for that. I crave for the ability to live fully and masterfully in the human experience. And I did everything I could to expand my consciousness, but it was so difficult until I was able to experience grace, the grace of the Guru's energy. And not even meeting the physical Guru, but even the space in which the Guru lived. It was so full of that energy that we call Shakti, divine energy. And that is what awakened me in the space. And the other disciples who were living there. They protected the field and they nourished the field by their constant discipline. And that made a huge difference. The ashram was showing Bhutan in the year 1975. It made a big difference to me. I always live in the awareness of that, and it's an ever-present experience. The experience of the ashram in Ganeshpuri. So how do we enter this space of immortal being? How do we enter there? And we enter there by first learning to observe our attachment to the physical world and senses. The more we can see how attached we are to the physical world, we can't do without things. We are caught up in the pleasure journey. We're caught up in the ego journey of power. When we become caught up, then there's no way that we can detach and come into that quantum experience. But if perchance we can detach, and it's called vairagya, if we can detach from the human experience through the practice of equanimity, no desire for the senses, no repulsion of the senses, but being equanimous. If we can be equanimous, then we have a chance now to go deeper and deeper inside, and to be able to experience higher levels of awakening in the inner space. So the yogic practice of equanimity is extremely important. So it means don't get caught in the desires that hold you in the world, or the repulsion, aversion to things, because either one is a trap. Being caught in attachment or caught in aversion to the world. So we must have neither. Can you make that a practice? A physical practice that you can grow in consciousness through that practice of being equanimous? Rag is the attachment, the desire, and the dvesh is the aversion. So no rag, no dvesh. Just that practice of being able to see, to observe how attached we might be to the world and how averse we might be to the world, then just that practice itself and being able to reason that out, which is the intellect, being able to reason that out and being able to move away from it, from that compulsion to hate or that compulsion to be aggressive and to be averse to the world, and that attraction to the world that holds us and binds us to the world. If we can work that as a practice, then we have a chance to be more and more able to be spiritually awakened. So I would say when I was 20, I lost that attraction for the world. It didn't have any meaning to me anymore. And I was not averse to it, but I didn't care to be in it. And so I searched for something different, purer, and something that could lift me, uplifting. And ultimately that led me to the ashrams of Sri Satya Sai Baba, who blessed me. Um, and that blessing was more than I could have imagined. And then Baba Muktananda's ashram, where I felt the strong energies of spiritual awakening. And then my life became a little more meaningful and purposeful. And that led me into years of sadhana, beautiful years of sadhana, through the process of Mahayoga, which of course I expound to you, and I engage you in the practices. So the practice of equanimity is extremely important. And don't shy away from it. Don't think it's a petty practice or trivialize it. No. It's extremely important. When you learn not to be attached to anything, even though it surrounds you, even though it's pleasurable and comfortable, don't be attached to it. Enjoy it while it's there, but when it's not there, don't miss it. And learn to enjoy the bitter and sweet fruits around you. When life pushes against you, when life seems to be a pain, look for the blessing in it. Look for the learning experience. There's always a learning experience, and that's where the blessing is. And from the learning we grow. We grow in consciousness. And we don't repeat the actions that would have created that. That's where the growth is. So in the practice of mindfulness, which I'm going to engage you in today, be mindful of how attached you become to the world, or how averse you become to the world, and how to operate from a different level, equanimous, by being loving, compassionate, kind, accepting, and being able most of all to understand the play, why we should be compassionate, why we should be loving. We need to be able to understand why, because if we don't understand why, we'll repeat the same thing over and over and over. And even if we think we intellectually understand it, we don't really when it hasn't become a practice. And when you practice something in full understanding of it, it will end up becoming a lifestyle, second nature. It's extremely important to be able to engage in the practices that lead to a full experience that can give us true understanding of the beauty of the practice. So ultimately we need to live the teachings in every moment. Now, I hope that you're with me because I'm sharing this state of equanimous consciousness with you. Can you feel it? Can you feel what I'm exuding into the space and what I'm holding your minds and hearts in? You need to hold your bodies, but I'm holding your minds and hearts. I'm engaging your minds and hearts as you open up to what I'm saying into my energies. We'll begin to co-create that field of equanimity. There's more contentment in you when you engage. There's more peacefulness, there's more acceptance of the world, there's more kindness, and meditation. This happens. It comes naturally in that kind of space. You don't have to force meditation. And meditation is not just closing your eyes and shutting off the senses. Meditation could be in total engagement with the world, and that's what we call mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation. Meditation, as you walk and you experience nature around you, as you drink water, as you eat food, as you experience fire, warmth, light, then that's what meditation is. And mindfulness, the beauty of being centered in the inner space, enjoying everything that's around you, but without attachment. Truly in the experience of the moment. And when we're able to influence each other positively by the energies that we emanate from our being, that is the whole idea of the Shaktipat, the transference of energy, the movement of energy, the influence of energy to uplift another or to uplift the space. That is the Shaktipat principle. The masters have it powerfully, the true masters. Disciples can be instrument of that through the masters. So stay with me in this inner space. Seek to connect with my energies and consciousness, because we all are connected in the consciousness field, and we all share the hearts and the minds in the common space of universal mind and universal heart. If you're now joining in, I'm just creating the space of mindfulness. Just open your consciousness to enjoy this experience of being together in collective consciousness. That's what I love to do on a Monday morning, night time. Just experience how it feels to be in the collective field of being. Every one of us contributes to that field. As we open up to the field and we connect with the field, we share this collective field that each one experiences. Now I'm going to slowly intonate the Gayatri mantra because it's a mantra I love. And it really asks for that light, that transcendental light, that light that emanates from the transcendental space, that pure light, that Savitur Venenium, that light that is transcendent, that coming from the transcendental space, that Savitur, like the sun. Varenium, worshipable. Bhargo, it's a cleanser. Devasya, divine. Dhimahi, we meditate upon that. Dhiyo, intellect. Here you're now prachodayat. Illumine my intellect. Om Bhur Bhuvasva. Those are the three lower chakras. And they're representative of all the chakras. Tat Savitur Parenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tat Savitur Parenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tat Savitur Parenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. And then the Mahamrityunjaya, which I absolutely love. It's a beautiful prayer of honoring the divine, the omniscient one, the all-seeing one, and asking that everything that is unhealthy be taken away from us, fall away from us, that we may thrive and be nourished by the inner fragrance of the divine, the prana. And we ask that we be open and aware to our immortal natures, immortal consciousness. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhem Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritastu. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhem Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritastu. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhem Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritastu. That's a beautiful triumphant mantra. And then the beautiful mantra from the Upanishad, praying for deep awakening, to move away from the false seeing, to the experience of the truth, to be led away from darkness and the inner space, tamas, and to experience of light, jyoti. And to be led away from mortal consciousness into the experience of our immortality. Asitoma Sadigamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Yorma Amritam Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Asitoma Sadigamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Yorma Amritam Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Beautiful prayer. I want to wish all of you a marvelous day today. Stay centered in your divinity as much as you can, that space of all possibilities, and seek to live more and more in your immortal nature. That is the field of the mind and the heart. And consciousness, beingness, being centered in mental being, emotional being, and vital being, the center of prana. That comes from your soul, your immortal nature. The physical body is a body that you carry and you experience as gross. It's a body of weight, gravity, being pulled by gravity, a body of warmth. There's chemistry that's happening in the body. Mitochondria in the cells are firing. You feel warmth throughout the body. And there's a lot of chemical things that are processes that are happening within the body itself, biological. And the body, like I said, is governed by its DNA in the cells and governed by planetary influences, the circadian rhythm, and all the natural forces of the environment. The body is influenced by those. So be wary of that, be understanding of that, be accepting of that, and being able to drive the body masterfully, fully, and joyfully. So thank you everyone for joining in today. For those of you who may not be joining now, you can look at the recording and enjoy the moments again. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaskar.